Well, Kim, it's a settlement that will be paid over 9 years, according to the agreement, in excess of $230 million, a settlement reached with the New York State Attorney General. Now, significantly, this agreement comes just days before a massive case is due to take place in New York involving a number of pharmaceutical companies and distributors. Now, Johnson & Johnson, by paying this figure, excludes itself from that particular legal process. So although it appears on the surface a huge amount of money, it is something that Johnson & Johnson is now avoiding down the line in terms of that massive case, which will take place, very importantly, before a jury, an unprecedented step in this type of case. Johnson & Johnson itself says that it stopped distributing and manufacturing opioids as long ago as 5 years, but in its agreement, it has agreed not to do so in the future. Johnson & Johnson continues to insist that this settlement is no acknowledgement of guilt. However, one must remember that there are some 3,000 similar cases pending across the United States. This agreement that Johnson & Johnson has reached in New York State may not apply in other cases.
Mike, just remind us of how devastating the opioid crisis has been in the US. I mean, Johnson & Johnson isn't the only big pharmaceutical company facing these sorts of lawsuits.
Well, it's a massive issue. Centers for Disease Control has said that in excess of 500,000 people have died of opioid abuse since the late 90s. This is a massive figure, and it has been a major social issue within the United States for a long period of time. There have been actions ongoing against various pharmaceutical companies prescribing painkillers, other forms of opioid. And now this is coming to a head. That New York case was the culmination of years of efforts by consumers to take some kind of action in terms of this massive crisis. And crisis it has been, looking at the numbers of Americans who have been affected. But I must add, too, as well, Kim, is that this is not necessarily a purely U.S. issue. Although this case is taking place in a few days' time in New York State, in New York City, there are international efforts underway as well. And the significance of this particular deal that Johnson & Johnson has reached is that that may set the template for other pharmaceutical companies who want to try and reach a deal and thereby avoid the risk of a jury trial either within the United States or even further afield. So this is a significant moment in terms of the battle against opioid. The New York Attorney General saying that it's very important that Johnson & Johnson has formally said it will not be distributing or manufacturing these opioids in the future, even though it says it has stopped recently. And this is the type of template that legal experts will be looking at not only in New York State and not only in the United States, but around the world where opioids have indeed been a massive scourge.